time, we're going to go ahead and get started. First off, just thank you for everybody for hopping on, supporting me as I launch my business, and just a star-studded evening with a couple LifeVantage animals that'll be presenting for us here this evening. So I just want to start real quick with my story, kind of where I'm at and why I'm even at this point. So as many of you know, and some of you probably don't know, I did lose my job here back mid-March, and I decided I can keep sending out my resume time and time and time again and being told no time and time and time again. And there was a job posting that came across for Fluffy Cow Coffee. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of Fluffy Cow. I sure haven't. But it was a sales rep position, and they said, hey, in the job description, all you got to do is get 3 customers a week, whether it be new coffee houses, hotels, whatever, just, you know. And I'm going, well, why don't I just go get 3 customers or go get 3 no's for myself and build my own business? So it's just led me to this point of I can get kicked around just fine, but doing something for myself that's supporting my family. So I've been on the sidelines of this business for about 8.5 years. My wife has built a very successful business to a Pro 7, which has given us the financial freedom for me to really pump the brakes here after 30 plus years in corporate America and say, really, what do I want to do next? What is my next step? So over those 8.5 years, I've been on the sidelines. I've been a cheerleader. I've just never really been in the game, and it's time for Kyle to get into the game. Be active, plug in. I already have been plugged in to a level that I was comfortable with, but now it's time to get a little bit uncomfortable and step into doing some things that I'm not comfortable doing, like trying to operate a Zoom, which I have no clue what the heck's going on here. So my co-pilot's here fingering all the buttons and taking care of all that behind the scenes. So I got a good production team. But I've been taking the product. That's really the reason we're even in LifeVantage, is I was suffering horribly. And we don't say this protandem cures, prevents, mitigates any kind of disease, but I was basically crippled in a wheelchair 8.5 years ago, walking with a cane. I traveled a lot with my last job, so I had a silver pack thing to board pre-board on Southwest so they could wheel me in so I didn't hold up the cattle call as they're loading everybody onto an airplane. And it's changed my life. So if I didn't have that gold pill every day, there was going to be hell to pay in this household. So I've always been a believer. That's never been the issue. It's just about being active and plugging in and being in the game. So along those lines, 8.5 years ago, there's a saying, dig your well before you're thirsty. Tanya dug our well long before we were thirsty. And as I continue to climb corporate ladders, I continue to be cut off at the knees. And the higher I went, the further I fall. And I've just gotten to this point where it's depressing. And then a lot of times it wasn't me. It was just the situation I was in. It wasn't personal. It's just going in a different direction and corporate buyouts, corporate this, corporate that. So I was odd man out and no more. So it's time I dig a well. So I keep my feet on the ground because I'm done climbing. It's when you get up there in the air, it gets scary. So I'm going to stay on the ground and I'm going to start digging so I keep grounded to what I'm doing. So without further ado, I really just want to introduce our first presenter, Dr. Brett Brimhall from Phoenix, Arizona. And I'm just going to read a quick little bio on him, just so everybody kind of gets his background. But I tell you what, the first time I met this guy, we were at an elite and we snuck him into the elite section because he was, I don't even know if he was even in the business at that time. Brett, were you?
Just barely.
It was the instant magic around this guy. He just exudes excellence. He's just so genuine and kind. So without further ado, let me just read you a little bit about Dr. Brimhall. He's been married to Holly for 23 years and they have 4 children ranging from 20 to 12, so he's busy. He's been in a clinical practice for 19 years and has been training healthcare providers all over the world since 1995. He and his father have pioneered the 6 steps to wellness. He has been a part of teaching and creating nutritional supplements and chiropractic tools and techniques. His passion of helping people achieve their full potential and health and now been expanded to helping people with their wealth. In 2014, he had a paradigm shift when he saw the changes in patients that he'd been working with over a year with a new breakthrough technology. He's on the LifeVantage Science Advisory Board for our company and sharing this life-changing science and opportunity with the world. So without further ado, I will turn it over to Dr. Brett Brimhall.
Thanks, Kyle. Appreciate it. Actually, I remember meeting your wife and you that first time. It was in San Antonio. And somebody asked me, how did a guy like you end up in a place like this? I was kind of asking myself that same question. Because I, never done network marketing before, never saw myself doing it. But I have something inbred in me from the time I was little that I liked helping people. I love teaching. I like making a difference. I learned it from my mom and dad real early on. And that's what I felt with LifeVantage and the people. I had no idea what to get myself into at that point in time, but grateful for the journey. And I also appreciate your honesty and like sitting on the sidelines and supporting your wife. I actually would like to see pictures of you in a cheerleading outfit though. That might be kind of fun for us. But my wife's I'm grateful to have a wife that's by my side and has helped me through this process, not only this, but other things. So, and I respect everybody's time. So thank you for being here. And Sean, the first person I met actually in LifeVantage outside of my sponsor, Carrie, was Sean and Michelle. I actually flew to South Dakota and met the scientists. So you all are hopping on a Zoom. I hopped on an airplane, flew to South Dakota to get my questions answered. So yeah, my background is in the clinical side of things. I've been training physician for a long time. Love nutrition, love chiropractic, love helping people. But when I saw that little boy who had worked there every week for a year, literally do a 180 after he started taking the Axial drink, I couldn't believe it. If I hadn't seen it, I wouldn't have believed myself. But I knew there's something fundamentally different about the products this company was making. So I'm going to take you on a little journey. So being that I spent the last 25 years training physicians on supplements my dad formulated and I helped with, I have a unique perspective on this product. We have a very unique product that either you will end up using now or in the future once you understand it. It's whether or not you want it before you need it. But it also, we'll talk about a business that I'm grateful to be a part of because this gives me options that I didn't have before and ways to help other people that I have before. So I'm going to kind of tell you a little story a bit. So I'm going to kind of share my screen. So give me 1 second. And I get it, Kyle, when you're learning technology, whew, it's a journey. Okay. Give me a thumbs up if you can see that. Good. All right. So LifeVantage literally began in a lab, and it's very unique. Most nutritional supplements that my dad formulated, we came from a process. We find people that weren't doing well, so we combine different products and ingredients to try to figure out this product was born out of a laboratory, which is very, very unique. And so I'm going to show you a video here in just a second. And you're going to get a perspective that when you watch it, I want you to keep in mind, like, if this is really real, like, who might this help? Right? And if this is really real, what if I could build a business around this? You're about ready to sell fluffy cow coffee, right? And so we all have a product that is a need in a marketplace. So how big is that need? So when we watch this, you got to think about this question. Nobody on this planet is going to get out of here alive, right? So if declining health is something we have to simply accept, or the part of getting older, there's a chronological age and there's a biological age. What you're going to learn about right now will give you an ability to affect that perspective just by doing some very, very simple things. And this is where, in my opinion, science will be moving more and more a ton in the future. You just get the chance to benefit now. Okay, so what we know is we've been told forever, genes you got, the health you got, right? That's just what happens. I'm gonna tell you it's different. My mom passed away in her early 60s. Her dad lived in 93, her mom lived in 97. She never smoked, she never drank. She died of a cancer that's only supposed to happen to smokers. She had phenomenal genetics. She controlled the things that she knew to control, yet she still manifested the disease because of environmental exposure she didn't know existed. So the answer is in the genes, but the genes are not the answer. The environment and how they interrelate with the environment, with their gene is the answer. So the things you do to enhance your functioning today and protect your future tomorrow, it depends about how you treat those genes and what they can do. So what we're gonna do, and we're gonna show you a video that aired back in 2005, where ABC caught wind of this scientist that said that we have this new technology that could actually change the way we do medicine. Right. So when you watch this, really keep in mind, if this is real, who do you know that might benefit? You already heard Kyle's story, what he experienced with the product, right? And now he's going to jump in and do the business. But he said, I want to do a business for myself, right? When you watch this, also think about, if this is an opportunity for a business, what might that look like, and what could the potential be? And we'll come back and talk about that, and actually have Sean kind of really dive into that. So here we go.
You want to get an edge on turning back the clock? Who doesn't? Well, it's no longer science fiction, but science possibility, a potential breakthrough. It may not look like the fountain of youth, but inside this nondescript building, I'm about to become part of an exciting experiment. For me, it begins with a blood test.
It wouldn't be the first time I've given blood for this company.
They want to check my levels of something called T-bars, which is a rough indicator of a person's actual age. T-bars can identify a condition known as oxidative stress, a kind of measure of the wear and tear on our bodies. Oxidative stress, like the rusting of an engine, is not a good thing. The problem of aging begins with the very food we eat to give us energy. As our cells burn that food, they also release toxic chemicals. Those chemicals, you may know them as free radicals, react with all the components of our cells, literally bombarding them millions of times per second, damaging all our cells. The result? Oxidative stress, and we all have it. The body fights back with a system of defenses. It makes two antioxidant enzymes, catalase and SOD, whose job is to gobble up the free radicals before they can harm our cells.
So, doctor, how often do I take these?
And so, here I go. With that swallow, I've just become part of a potentially landmark scientific experiment. It's called Protandim, and tests have already shown that it revs up the manufacture of those good enzymes in our bodies. More enzymes, fewer free radicals to harm us. Normally, oxidative stress, measured by those T-bars, increases with age, but taking just one pill of Protandim a day reversed that trend for everyone at every age, even for an 80-year-old. So just what's in this seemingly incredible pill? Well, actually, its roots are very humble. Protandim is a combination of 5 plant ingredients. Some you may know: green tea or turmeric, a spice used in Indian cooking. Others, Withania somnifera and Silybum marianum, are more exotic. High oxidative stress is associated with more than aging. It's been linked to hundreds of illnesses.
It's at the very center of many diseases: liver disease, diabetes, emphysema, asthma, all of these, strokes, heart attacks.
Even mental disease.
Yes,
Depression?
Alzheimer's disease, depression.
But what about my progress? After nearly 2 weeks now, it's time to get my results. The result? My level of oxidative stress has declined dramatically. Just look at where I fall on the graph, before and after. Have we turned back the clock? Maybe not on the outside, but deep inside within my cells. Yes, indeed.
We do know that oxidative stress is part of those disease processes. I don't want to wait until I'm 80 years old and find out that I should have taken it.
The company that makes Protandim says its tests show the pill, made from ingredients used for centuries, is absolutely safe. For more, go to our website at abcnews.com.
Okay. All right. So that was the beginning of the story. That aired in 2005. I didn't watch that video until 2014. Never saw it. Right. So this may be the first time you've ever seen that. All right. So now what does this mean for you? I'm going to kind of fill you in on what's happened since that. So Protandim NRF2 was made in 2003. Sold on the shelves of like GNC and Rite Aid and places like that. RBC caught wind in 2005, did that. That led to university studies that are published, where there's now 26 published studies you can look up on called PubMed.gov. Yet it still didn't sell well, right? It wasn't until 2009 where it switched distribution methods, where it went to direct sales, that the company grew. All right. So the question would be why? If what they said is really real, and what Kyle was saying, how it affected his health, and what I've seen clinically, and the changes I'm noticing in patients that I've treated for decades, and the results I'm now getting now that I wasn't getting before, if it's really real, why did it not grow? Because no one even knew it existed. Let alone they didn't understand this idea or this concept that you could actually tap into your genetic potential. We talk about it, but we didn't have a way to do it. Now you're seeing all over the place being published a concept called biohacking, which is finding ways to tap into your body's inborn ability to heal and repair. That's right in line in the chiropractic philosophy. We believe the body can heal itself. The question is why doesn't it, and what tools or strategies and things we can do to activate that response. Okay, so in the video you heard this term oxidative stress. So there's really three major theories of aging we'll touch on. One of them is oxidative stress. Bottom line is, when you age, in metal they call it rust. In us, we call it different conditions. All right. So this oxidative stress doesn't happen all the time. It happens when you eat, when you walk, when you breathe, when you stress, and it affects every tissue and organ of your body. All right. So your body is always trying to counteract that. And we've all seen somebody's life where their stress goes really high and they look like they age fast. What happened is there became so much oxidative stress and so little repair, you could visibly see it. Well, other people feel it in how they move or don't move, how they sleep or don't sleep, how they have energy or don't have energy, the way they're able to control their mind or not. All right. So if this process in every single human, what if you understood there was a switch designed in us? If you could turn that switch on, it could manufacture things to keep that oxidative stress response under control. That's what exactly we're talking about. Not only is there a concept, but there's an applicable way, right? So oxidative stress is caused by all these different things, like I kind of mentioned, anything from diet to lack of diet to too much exercise to stress. And what we've seen, obviously, in the last few weeks of our existence is the whole world went through a tremendous amount of stress together, which will create huge opportunities for us to look at the world differently and taking personal control back of your body. Right? And that's what this is literally about. So now you have a way. So literally this switch is called the NRF2. It's a specific protein. When it's turned on, your body manufactures these big cleanup guys called enzymes that clean up the debris. All right. This product is made of 5 natural ingredients: milk thistle, bacopa, ashwagandha, green tea, and turmeric. You think, well, that's not that big a deal. And I have to admit, I thought the same thing. Because a patient of mine brought this in years ago, said, this has really helped me. I looked at it and said, well, it doesn't look like anything special. But nobody showed me that video. Nor did anybody tell me we can say it lowered oxidative stress by average 40% in 30 days. What that would mean, and what if you could heal 40% faster in 30 days? Right? And then that continues month after month. To me, I liken that. What if you could lower your expenses or increase your financial money every month by 40%? What would you fix around your house? What bills would you pay off? What money would you save? And then what vacation would you eventually take? That's what your cells are doing, right? And this happens because your body's producing these big enzymes, like you'll see on that left, which you don't need to know the name, superoxide dismutase and catalase and glutathione. Your body produces those when this switch is turned on. And now all you have to do to turn that switch on is literally take this little yellow pill. This got incredible amount of research to back it up, but the concept was key. Just like the idea of this Zoom or this phone call, this phone here, you guys, with this phone just allows me to communicate in a way that I didn't know before. This pill allows your cell to communicate and turn on switches in a way we didn't know before. Now, how big a deal is that? It's giant, okay? Because in the past, what we knew, and we've done this for years with patients, is you're just trying to get them to eat cleaner, right? Eat more of the fruits and vegetables that have antioxidants, right? So, and what happened when you take a molecule of vitamin C, it kills one bad guy. When you turn on this switch inside the cell, it literally turned on switches to produce these antioxidants where it kills 1 million free radicals per second, every second. And that's the power of having intracellular healing versus trying to do healing from the outside in. Okay. Someone asks me all the time, well, if this is really that real, why isn't it sold on the cells of GNC and things like that? Why did the FDA approve it? Great question. The FDA approved only approved medications. Okay, that's one reason. Okay, the other side of that, I don't really want to have a disease to have the benefit. That's the other side of this. Okay, and is this valid? Well, that's a great question, right? How come my doctor didn't tell me about it? Well, one, they probably don't know about it. But if you're going to look for true validation, independent of anybody else, you'd go to a website called PubMed.gov. This is the National Institutes of Library Health website, and you can look up studies published on Protandim NRF2, the actual product, not the ingredients, but the product. And this is super unique. With all the 200 products my dad created, we don't have any studies that are published or peer-reviewed, right? Because it's phenomenally expensive. Why did that happen with Protandim? Because the ABC did the investigative report, positive results, led to tons of universities wanting to study, which has led to all these different studies. You can read it. So valid is huge. Now, how big a deal is that though from a product standpoint when you're sharing with other people? We want to know, is it real? Number one, is it safe? Is it real? Is it effective? Well, you have these research studies to back it up, okay? Big university, not little, big one. Ohio State, I did one on heart disease specifically. LSU did one on skin cancer specifically, right? American Heart Association published in their journal, right? How it reduce fibrosis in the heart, like giant universities. Okay, and here's the summary of all these studies. NRF2, right? This is Washington State said this. NRF2 is likely to become the most important health promoting approach in the foreseeable future. NRF2 may well become the most extraordinary breakthrough in the history of medicine. There have been some super cool things that happen in medicine, but what if they're right? What if this technology, understanding their genetic switches, and we can find ways to activate those switches, it can literally allow us to tap into the body's natural ability to heal. What if? Well, you have a groundbreaking ability to not only help people to a higher level health-wise, as far as getting healthy, but also prevention, right? But what if you could help share that message? How many lives would you touch? Think about Kyle's life and how different it is because of this thing that he started taking that's helped him where he didn't have to back up the airplane to get in. But on top of that, that has given him options financially that he wouldn't have before had his wife not done the business. Okay, so there's switches that control your body cleanup. That's the NRF2. There are other switches that control your body's ability to make energy. Everything in your body takes energy to do, whether that's cleanup or repair. The person responsible for that or the power plant known as the mitochondria. With age, the mitochondria declines in effectiveness and also in numbers, all right? So the solution is to activate this protein called NRF1, and it's made up of, again, 5 natural ingredients, but what it does, it increases your body's ability to manufacture energy known as ATP, it's a molecule, and also by helping protect the chromosome, which make new mitochondria. So now you get the ones you have working better, your body can make new ones, right? Well, what do people feel? They typically feel improved quality of sleep. They'll feel improved cognition, brain health, help to support a normal circulatory and cardiovascular system. What does that mean for you and I? Again, more focus, more energy to do the thing we're designed to do, right? But at the same time, then your body can repair things that have been putting off because it didn't have the energy to do so. And how might you feel that? I don't know. But the reality is a lot of people don't feel anything until it's too late, right? So if you're waiting to feel something, that's a problem because 50% of people that have heart attacks, their number one and their first symptom is they're dead. All right. And as a culture, we're reactionary. So what I'm saying, and not everybody does something in their health strategy, even if it's a little bit. Maybe it's their eating, maybe it's their sleep, maybe it's who they play with, and maybe it's their recreation or exercise. Well, it's all going to help some. But what if you knew that there were these switches and all you do is flip them on, and all you had to do to flip them on was take something? Then that could be a very solid part of your foundation for your health strategy. Okay, then there's what's called known as the Sirtuin or NAD theory of aging. So you're hearing a lot about this through what the process was called intermittent fasting, to activate these molecules that's known as sirtuins. All right, sirtuins are designed as communication systems, right? And what they do, they're responsible for a whole bunch of different health benefits, from mental and physical energy to motivation, mood, cardiovascular health, maintaining healthy cholesterol levels, joint health, healthy DNA function, and a healthy inflammatory response. That's a ton. So really everything, okay? It literally works with the communication of the cell, which we've all seen in relationships for business when communication fails. When Sirtuin activity is not there, that communication doesn't happen. And up till before, the only way of actually really taking advantage of this was by caloric restriction and drastic caloric restriction. Well, guess what? We now know from laboratory, we can take an NAD protandem and turn on that switch, again, made up of natural ingredients. And what the benefit is, supports healthy longevity, all right? So aging gracefully, improve mental focus and concentration, supports positive mood and motivation, boosts mental and physical energy, supports the body's healthy inflammatory response, which is huge because you want the body to deal with inflammation, but not over exaggerate it, okay? Maintain cholesterol levels in healthy range and support a healthy vascular system. All right, so this is what we call the tri-synergy. This is the foundation of what we recommend people take, because you're tying into the three biggest theories of aging. And when people feel like they feel today, so every single one of you on this call, the way you feel today is a result of how well every one of those trillions of cells are functioning. Brain cells, skin cells, nerve cells. You feel the way you feel. You perform the way you perform today based upon how your cells are functioning, based upon what you're doing or not doing for them, right? And now you have an ability to tap into that. So here's a visual description, because it's you're like, okay, what does this switch thing mean, right? So protandem tri-synergy, what we've asked as the subsidiary board is like, okay, which one is doing what? So we know we can now measure this. And this is super exciting to me, because in the past, I've used supplements forever, saw good results on blood work, right? But I never could actually prove, right, what it was doing necessarily as through lab work. Well, here they tested it, right? So think about a way to actually check how much induction happens when you take an NRF2 in the specific gene that controls the body's ability to control detoxification. Well, when those cells were given NRF2, it literally upregulated that response by 40%. When it combined with NRF1, NRF2, and the NAD protandem, it went from a 40% increase to a 73% increase. The same thing happened with another one related to inflammation. It went from a 50% increase to an 838% increase. All right, so if I could get all my kids to clean, that'd be nice. Could I get them faster? Imagine your cells functioning 50% better or 838% better. What might happen? Okay, the same thing happened with NRF1. The NRF1 by itself increased by 64%. When you put them in all three together, 84%. And 69 and 118. And again, look at NAD, 12% by itself, combined with the protandem NRF2 and NRF1, 127% and 226%. And that makes sense, because for years, as a clinician, my dad would always tell me, the more right thing we can do, that's what the 6 Steps to Wellness was born from. The more right things we can do at the same time, the effect is not 1 + 1 + 1 = 3, that 1 + 1 + 1 can literally equal 13 or 25. It's exponential, right? And that's the same thing with stress. The more stress you have, that can be an exponential bad side, but the more things you do together in the right way, you can have an exponential benefit in how your body functions. All right. So what LifeVantage has then done is they say, how do we then affect people in a massive way through this new idea of technology of activating gene responses? So they've applied it through what's called a vitality stack, right? So somebody that wants to take something super simple, well, great. Every single day, guess what? Me and my kids take. It's a vitality stack. with the NAD. So it's got my fish oil with vitamin D, my NRF1, NRF2, and NAD. It's got my probiotic with beta glucan to help my immune response. Every single day, me and my kids take that. Okay, why? Not because I have something, but it's because I want to function well today, and I want to be able to prevent stuff that I don't know is out there. Like my mom, she had no idea, right? So for me, I want to do what I can today to function well, but also help with longevity long term tomorrow. The Axial, which is here, that's the brain food. That's what I've been drinking. Okay, so think of NRF2 activation, but for brain. So think about functioning on all cylinders, like being focused into the zone, getting more done in a day. That's what this slide you, but the effects are cumulative. So imagine your brain learning better, faster, and retaining it longer. That to me is what Axial is, okay? The ProBio I mentioned, it's very unique probiotic with timeless technology. Omega-3s, if you're not taking omega-3 fish oils, you absolutely should, because every cell in the body needs it. The question now becomes, where are you getting it from? In this situation, we're dealing with the fish oil that literally come from, we can trace from the boat back to the fish. So we know where it came from, we know how pure it is. It's got a natural source of vitamin D. You have a weight management stack that allows you to address weight management from a nutrigenomic perspective. The True Science skincare, again, imagine putting protein nerve 2 on your skin, right? Super cool study with LSU showing reduction of melanomas by activating nerve 2. So they put it into a topical. Love this stuff. I haven't used actually a shaving cream for almost 5.5 years now because I've been using this. Then there's hair care, okay? Nerve 2 activation for hair, and then pet tandem nerve 2 activation for pets. Okay, what you're seeing is at LifeVantage, what unique niches can we tap into to help people? And when I see each of these products, what I think about are individuals that are coming into a doctor's office or looking for a friend or searching online because they have a specific challenge that they're faced with. And some of them it's maybe weight, some of it's maybe their skin, like a little girl I saw today with severe acne, to somebody that they just don't feel good, to somebody that's got digestive issues, to somebody that's just dealing with hormone issues. I see people that are needing these products and allowed us to activate the G switches. As long as they're a mammal, these things will work in them. Okay, powerful. It's made my job much easier because instead of using 200 products now, I use a handful. I don't have to guess if they're going to work. If they're a mammal and I get it into them, I know their body, if they stay in it long enough, is going to make changes, because the way they feel today is not a result of what happened yesterday. It's what's been going on for years. So if they give it the right amount of time, and this becomes a long-term strategy, not only are they going to feel better, but they're going to become better because their cells are going to be able to perform the way they're designed to perform. Okay. So when I started doing this, I did it, number one, because I saw what I saw in a little boy. And I knew that I'm gonna shift screen, let Sean use his. I just knew what kind of doctor would I be if I didn't share it. Okay, that was my first thought. But at the same time I first saw this, a company my dad was teaching for, where his was literally let go. So the company him and I were teaching for, so his income went away overnight. This is the second time it happened in 20 years of me working with him. And I thought, I don't want to spend another 20 years and have somebody just decide that they didn't want us. And I realized, that Carrie that had brought me into the business, like she had built a bigger business in 5 years than we had in 20. And she had no medical background. At that point in time, I was super ignorant in network marketing, didn't understand it, really kind of just had no idea what it do, right? But when I started doing it, guys, I can tell you right now, today I'm so grateful I have. When the 2009 market hit, it hit us hard. And as a business owner, it was tough. 8 weeks ago, when this thing hit, because I am now a Pro 7 with the company, I make good money here because I've worked with people, help me learn how to build teams. The stress was not even a tenth of what it was then. Yeah, it affected me. Watching people struggle, but because I had built something with help, it felt different, right? So Kyle, grateful that you give me an opportunity to be involved with this. Thankful for your kindness and there in San Antonio years ago. I'm grateful that you're jumping in because there are a lot of people just like you that this whole last few, 8 weeks, I think has really hit a lot of people hard. And I know in your life, there's things that hit hard, and there's people that need this. So I'm grateful to be part of this. Guys, the products are life-changing. Put them into your body. They only work when they go in. You don't have to guess if they work. Give them time. Give them time to do their magic, right? And they are part of your health strategy. And when I look at health strategy and budgeting for health strategy, I look at what people spend on their coffee. I look at what people spend on their exercise gym membership they don't use, and a lot of other things that they rationalize and they de-rationalize doing this. Do your budget, put it in your body, watch the magic happen. One of the first people I met through this process was Sean, and hearing his story of his wife and watching what they built together as a couple is inspiring. And as far as medical, like, I feel like I really understand that well. Maybe I'm the expert on this call. When it comes to business and learning how to build a business that will pay you for years to come and is not based on your own efforts, and you help a lot of the people have success, Sean is by far the expert. I'm grateful that he was part of my journey in learning this business model. I'm grateful that each of you guys are on here. I don't know where you're at in your world, but I promise you that what you're hearing is real. It may seem too good to be true, and we've all heard the saying, if too good to be true, it probably is. Well, the reality is, if it's too good to be true, it might be true. Just make sure you don't miss it. So, Sean, I'm excited to hear from you. Take it away.
Awesome, Brad. I tell you what, you absolutely blow my mind. You make this, you dummy it down so simple for us that have no medical background. I put it in my body, and that's about all I can tell people what to do. You have just blessed us and everybody on this call like beyond belief. So for you to take your time out of your evening to come on and join, I can't thank you enough. So thank you for that. I'm going to introduce the next presenter real quick. He sent me a really nice bio. I'll go ahead and read quick. But before I even get to that little part of it, I can't even begin to tell you what Sean and his wife, Michelle, have meant to us. Not just because of the LifeVantage family, because they're just friends. And every time, it seems like Kyle, every time he gets knocked down, no matter where Kyle's been at, and we knew the pose long before 8.5 years, long before this opportunity. Tanya and Michelle were in the mortgage industry together long ago. So they have just been lifetime friends. So he has a beautiful wife, Michelle. He has 2 daughters, Callista and Elise, who are the same age as our Savannah and Elena. And through this, they've become just absolutely wonderful friends. And every time they get to see each other, they just light up like a Christmas tree. So Sean, I love you like a brother, and you know that, but I will read your background since you sent it to me, and I'll give you that ado. Sean's prior experience was in corporate treasury and securities. After getting an MBA, he held his Series 7 and 66 security license with Wells Fargo and Wells Fargo Advantage funds. When they moved to South Dakota, he began managing the cash movement for Citigroup, managing from $4 billion to $40 billion per day. The last 3 years, he managed the roughly $750 million debted student loan portfolio for Citigroup. And along with those lines, when I knew Sean, when he was in corporate America, and he may tell a little bit of the story, I'm not sure, but he flew everywhere. He was flying all over the country and in and out of courtrooms chasing student loan debt. So he was exhausted. And I'll never forget this, Sean. I'm going to tell this story and turn it over to you. When you were in Colorado and Tanya was just launching, and I drove you up to a sports bar, and we met some guy, I think from Wyoming or from your background, and you looked at me and said, I can't believe I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. Just drive around and talk about Protandem. And I looked at him, and to this day, those words still resonate in my head. And that was 8.5 years ago. I'm finally now saying, I'm just going to drive around and talk about Protandem. So without any further ado, here is Mr. Sean Poe.
Thanks, Kyle. And this is awesome to be able to do a launch call for you. And I just want to tell all the guests, thanks for jumping on and supporting him in this venture. because it's not an easy journey, and life in general. I mean, we get thrown so many different curveballs, and we have known the Sheldons since 2006. We've seen them, move from South Dakota to Kansas to Colorado to Idaho, and we've been there for each other for the ups and downs. And as humans, life is messy. And it's just a matter of how you deal with the different ups and downs that are thrown at you. And, these are people that we will do life with for the rest of our lives, because they're such great people. And I'm just beyond thrilled to be able to do this with you. He's the only guy I've ever been trapped in a beer truck trying to avoid a tornado. So we go back a long ways. And, I've had several similar experiences as Kyle in the corporate world. In Citigroup, there was a saying, it wasn't a matter of if your department was going to get let go, it was just when and what positions were going to be available when it happened. And that was my reality for a long time. In South Dakota, for a while, I was flying back and forth to Manhattan and Long Island. To learn what other people did. We'd document it. They would get fired. We'd bring the jobs back to South Dakota, and I'd train somebody else how to do it. And I was missing my kids growing up. My youngest daughter was born during that time, and I really missed the first 5 months of her life because I was either in a hotel in Manhattan or on an airplane trying to get back to South Dakota. And during that time, I'll never forget one weekend I was home. We went up to the lake, and I was with Michelle and my two kids, and my older daughter, who would have been, I would guess 4 or 5 at the time, she pulled on my pant legs as I was getting ready to head back to the airport. And she looked up at me and she said, "Dad, don't go." And it literally ripped my heart out, because I didn't have a choice. I didn't know how to escape that rat race that I was in and to be able to replace what I was earning in that environment. And I wanted out, but I needed a vehicle to allow that to happen. And thank goodness in 2011, we went to a meeting like this that a cardiologist in Sioux Falls was doing. And I went in, and I'll be the first to admit I was very skeptical about what I was hearing. But I always say in life that I'm open-mindedly skeptical. I'll listen to the facts, I'll do my due diligence, and I'll see where it fits in with our lives. And me and Michelle, we did that. And thank goodness we did, because it changed literally every aspect of our lives. And I don't want to spend a ton of time on my story, but I know that people are going through stuff, whether it's through health stuff or financial stuff or a combination of both, or just looking for something different. How many people wake up and all of a sudden they're 40 and they look in the mirror and they're like, I thought life would be different at this point in my life, and I didn't expect this. And the reality is regardless how old you are or what your background is or your experience level is, there's opportunity out there for you to make changes. But in order for you to have change in your life, you've got to make some changes in yours. And so I love Dr. Brett Brimhall and him being able to explain the science. I'm a finance guy, so being able to partner with medical professionals like this is awesome. He does the heavy lifting, but to me, it's an absolute no-brainer. If you listen to what he said, you're going to integrate these products into your health strategy. I'll dumb it down even more from the finance guy. Oxidative stress is bad. Reducing oxidative stress is good. And I don't think anybody out there, if you ask them, do you want to age faster or slower, that is going to be like, I want to age faster. And there's not a lot of ways, though, that we can reduce these theories of aging. But we know that there's this huge pharmacy inside of our bodies that just doesn't work as well as it did when we were younger. So if we can flip the switches on some of these pathways and just tell the body to work like it used to when we were younger, that's what we're talking about here. And in my mind, it's not a question of if people are going to be doing this in 3 to 5 years. The question is going to be, how are you doing it? And we've got a decade's head start on anybody that enters the marketplace doing this through natural herbal ways. And I love that. These products have changed tens of thousands of people's lives since my wife and I got involved with this in 2011. So I just real quickly want to touch on the business side. I want you to know 90% of our business is customer based. And again, I think it's a no-brainer. You're going to take the products. It's just, how are you going to take them? And I want you to have enough information that you can make the decision on your end. Are you going to take them as a customer, or maybe partner with us in this journey and do the distributor side? So let me share my screen real quick. We're in a time right now that it has never been like this in history before. And we're seeing a lot of things merge. But I think one of the great things that has happened through the last couple months is people are realizing this brick and mortar environment that we've been working in for a century, it doesn't need to necessarily happen. There's so many different ways for people to work from home or have this laptop lifestyle, and social media sharing and virtual offices, Zoom. I mean, we've been doing Zoom for 4 or 5 years, but now the average person, you tell them we're going to jump on a Zoom, they know exactly what you're talking about as far as connecting with other people. And I love that we're ahead of the curve on all of that. And things that I look for in business, we've done a lot of different business in our life, but why right now? Where are you at in the timing of stuff? And I've traveled all over the world doing this, from Australia to Canada, Mexico, all over North America. There isn't one market I've ever set foot in that the average person knows about what Dr. Brett Brimhall just talked about. And I would contend that even me as a finance guy, I know more than 99% of doctors out there about these different pathways in the bodies, because there aren't a lot of drugs in the marketplace right now that are educating our doctors on the ability of these things in the body, and we do it naturally. So that's a huge thing, is timing. Just like real estate, location, location, location. To me in business, it's really about timing. And do you want to be ahead of the curve or behind the curve and look back and say, oh my gosh, that would have been nice to know. You know, I live in South Dakota, so most business stuff goes east and west coast in. And by the time we hear about it, we're like, oh, that would have been nice to know. But the reality is you now know about information before the average person. It's just, what are you going to do with that information? When my wife and I first started this in 2011, there were around 40,000 published studies on oxidative stress. And you can see now that there's over 220,000 studies that are out there. And that's where research is going, because they know that if you can take off these stressors in the body, it allows the body again to get back and do what it naturally did. I'm not going to go a ton into the compensation plan. Just know that there's upfront money that people make. But really what we try to build for people is leveraged income that works without you, that you can remove yourself from that vehicle and still have it continue to go without you. And I'll tell you this, if this is not the vehicle for you, find some sort of way in 2020 to get leveraged income in your life, because it'll change everything. I used to trade time for money in the corporate world, and I would show up 2 weeks later, I would get a check. Show up another 2 weeks, I would get a check. Well, guess what happened in January of 2012 when I stopped showing up? They stopped sending me checks. And when you can create a vehicle that is leveraged, you can make money from work that's done in the past. And that's what I love about this, is we truly get paid for effort that we put in and people we exposed this to over the past 9 years. Bunch of different ways that we get paid. I just want to highlight the bottom right-hand corner one, because there's this myth within network marketing that only the first people to get in make money, or only the people at the top make money. But the reality is, with this part of the compensation plan, you can make money off of all the work that's ever been done in the company. It's called the Elite Bonus Pool. And the company takes 4% of the total monthly global commissionable sales, and they spread it out in 4 different segments. And so I love that, for the fact, like, I treated my business like eventually I was going to make it to that point, and it didn't matter who's in whose group. And it doesn't matter that I don't know anybody in Thailand or Taiwan or Japan. I want those markets to go crazy, because as the company grows, we can experience growth within how we get paid as well too. So I love that aspect of it. But when this business is done right, you guys, with the right people and the right products, it's one of the most extraordinary ways to make money. And it's a way that we will incorporate into our income streams for the rest of our life. I promise you that. You can see here what I have right now is called the average income disclosure for our company, LifeVantage. And when I first got started, I was very skeptical about this again. And my joke with Michelle, my wife, was, if we're successful network marketers, we're going to get a check for $20 we'll go get a bottle of wine and a red box movie and celebrate. That's how serious we treated this. But the reality was we were just naturally passionate about the products, and we shared it with other people. The more people we shared it with that wanted to see what it would do for themselves, they naturally shared it with other people. And we all of a sudden had this business that was paying a little bit more than $20 a week. And here on the screen at Pro 3, the ranks go from Pro 1 to Pro 10. And I want to point out that third column there, the average monthly commission. Because at the rank of Pro 3, the average person in the company is making over $600 a month. And you can see at those ranks from Pro 1 to Pro 2 to Pro 3, I say that that's part-time money, $60, an extra $250, $600 a month. And there's a lot of people right now that if we could show them a roadmap how to make an extra couple $100 a month, that's the difference between them being able to make their mortgage payment or their car payment on the 1st of June. And that's what I get excited about, is you don't have to have any kind of particular experience or background or education level to do it. We have all sorts of people that are earning part-time money doing this. And then at the ranks of Pro 4 and Pro 5, $1,500, $3,000 plus a month. To me, that's supplemental income. How many baby boomers do we have coming up to retirement, or people that are in their 40s saying, oh my gosh, you know, I haven't saved the way that I might have or I should have done to live a retirement lifestyle that I want to in even 15, 20 years from now. And the people that are coming up to retirement age, the baby boomers, retirement is not like it used to be 30 or 40 years ago, where you work for the same company for 30, 40 years and they take care of you during retirement through pensions. Pensions are becoming extinct, really. And if you didn't save enough money to live the same lifestyle you're accustomed to at the time you want to retire, you have two options: continue working or live off of less money. So again, if we could roadmap out for people over the course of the short term, getting you to the point of $3,000 extra a month, it's a big deal. And I would have never believed these types of incomes, you guys, when I first got exposed to this, but I know people at each one of these levels. Look at Pro 7, $13,000 a month, or 8, 9, 10, 25,000, 50,000, people making $100,000 a month doing this. And it isn't all about the income. I just want to paint the picture of the potential, because I know at my position in Citigroup, I was never going to make more money than my boss. And I wasn't going to get my boss's kind of money. But in this, you can definitely make more money than the CEO of our company. It's crazy. And my wife and I, when we came in 2011, we didn't know the first thing about network marketing. We didn't know the first thing about nutraceuticals. We hit that rank of Pro 7 in 12 months. I was able to walk away from the corporate world within a year of doing this. Within 12 months after that, we hit the rank of Pro 8. 12 months after that, we had 2 Pro 8 positions. Currently, we have one that's Pro 8, one that's Pro 9, and we have the volume of another position that's at Pro 7. And I'm not saying that to brag about anything that I've done at all. I just, again, want to highlight we came in without experience doing this. And I know this in business. If other people have proven something to work and they have a roadmap you can follow, if you do the same things those people did, you can generate the same results. And so for around $5 a day, $5 to $10 a day, depending on what products you want to take, you can overhaul your health as a customer. And again, 90% of our business, that's what they do, is they come in as a customer. And I love that for the simple fact, if you don't see the business or have the desire to do the business, don't do it. Just come in as a customer. But if you're thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, what if? What if I took the chance on myself? What if I partnered with Kyle and Tanya? Would I be able to generate the same results? And there's 3 different ways to get involved in the business. There's a silver pack is $350, the gold pack $650, the platinum pack's $1250. If I was going to come in again tomorrow, I would come in at that platinum pack level, because it comes with the most product at the most discounted rate, and it's going to give you the experience to see what these products do inside of your body and help other people start to experience that as well. And to me, in business, it was a no-brainer. We didn't even want to do the business at first. We knew that I was going to take it, Michelle was going to take it, and both of our parents, we wanted them to take it. And so we knew right out of the gate, even if we didn't get off the starting line with the business, we were just prepaying for product we are already going to take and getting a big discount on it. And so that's what we did. But I want you to know, if you decide to do the business, you immediately get access to world-class support. You're going to have your own online business that's set up for you, your own replicated site that you can share with other people. You'll be able to plug people into meetings like this where we do the heavy lifting and the education to see where people fit in. But I know a lot of people, when they hear this information, they still think to themselves, they have that voice inside of their head that says, well, I don't know if I could do this, or it worked for them, but it wouldn't work for me. And I want you to tell you again, this works for any kind of person. The only things that it takes for people to have success in this is, first of all, not quitting on yourself before you get where you want to get. But really, it doesn't matter what your education level is, as long as you're coachable and you're willing to put in some part-time effort to do this. We have 24-hour-a-day support. We have an easy-to-follow system that just got easier. We have a launch, learn, and lead where you can earn money as you learn this and plug people in. And we have regular team meetings and trainings like this, corporate events and different incentives to keep you motivated along the way. And you're going to fall into a couple different categories at this point. You know, to me, again, it's a no-brainer. You're going to take the products, but it's just, are you going to come in as a customer or are you going to come in as a distributor? And just let the person that invited you on to this call know where you want to get in. That's sometimes the hardest question for them to ask you afterwards is, what do you want to do? So I would just ask, get back with them and let them know. We can get you started as a customer within 5 minutes, and we can set up and put your hands on a multi-million-dollar business within about 5 minutes. And I'm telling you, think about this. Ask yourself this question. Is the healthcare industry changing? Are people becoming more proactive than ever before in their health and looking for ways to do it in a more natural way and trying to avoid being reactive and dealing with problems as they come up afterwards? I'll contend all day long, people are becoming more proactive and they're becoming smarter about what they're putting in their bodies and choosing to do things in a more natural way when they can. So the timing on that end, to me, is a no-brainer. But also think about the business world. Again, the business world is changing, and I think the last 60 days fast-forwarded us probably about 5 years. Think about what's changed in the world even in the last 2 years. Toys R Us, I use this as a business example all the time. Did more or less toys get sold in the world last Christmas season or in 2019 than any time in history before? More toys were sold, but how is it that a place like Toys R Us went bankrupt? It's just how people are acquiring goods has shifted. And the number one reason for that is probably Amazon, to be honest. And think about Amazon for a second. What is Amazon? Amazon is a giant network of distribution centers that take products and instead of putting on the shelves of a store like Toys R Us, ship direct to the consumer. And that's exactly what we do in this profession in network marketing. Is the brick and mortar has been eliminated and goods go from a distribution center to the customer or the distributor's house. So we're positioned in two huge transformational things that are happening in the economy. And I will say this, is there are opportunities that pop up in your life that may only happen 1 or 2 times. And I don't know if we will ever again see a convergence of technology and the ability to transform a business and put your hands on something like this ever again. I mean, if you guys hear about something, I want to be on your list to know about it because I'll be all ears for it. In life, I again, even if I'm skeptical, I'm open-minded enough to see where it fits in with our life. So with that, I just, again, I want to thank you guys all for your time and supporting Kyle on this launch, and just get back to him. Let him know where you fit in, and we'll get you started on that. And know that you do have a support team with you. Unlike the corporate world where I used to trade time for money, and I was paid more money to separate myself from everybody else because I was going to get the next raise or the next promotion if I did that. In this type of business model, our success is derived on helping other people have success. And that's how life should be led. That's how we all should live life, is helping other people feel better and have better options in their life to just feel good about what they're doing. So Kyle, thank you so much for having me on here to share this. Appreciate Dr. Brett Brimhall doing the heavy lifting on the science side of this. But we appreciate you, and anything that we can do to help, please let us know. We're here for you, and we're completely open books. Any questions that people have, we'll help answer, the good, the bad, the ugly. But do this, when you do your due diligence, know that there's a difference between just Google searches and looking at real research on PubMed.gov or going to the American Heart Association, places like that. So I'll throw it back to you, Kyle. Again, thanks for your time. Appreciate you guys.
Just absolutely amazing, Sean. Your heart and knowledge together is it's just venom. So thank you, brother. Thanks for always being there, but by our side through thick and thin. So thanks for sharing your heart tonight. And thanks again, Dr. Brett. You are amazing. And I just want to thank everybody that took an hour out of their evening to hop on with us just to support me. Means the world to me. So with that, I am going to say good night.